If you've always struggled to be seen all your life, you would not think about the adverse effect of what this is going to have or how this is going to affect you. You just want to be seen.
You want to survive as well. I have to also keep in mind that in somebody else's reality, I'm an enemy.
Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel, Good Day in Africa. My name is Olamide and Kabejja.
And I am Kabejja, and thank you guys for subscribing to our YouTube channel. And still, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Please do not also forget to click on the notification bell.
So, for today's topic, it's going to be an interesting one. So, I believe we all know that across all cultures, dark-skinned people get to suffer the most. And do you know why? That is because of colorism. So when we're talking about colorism, we remind ourselves of the brown paper bag test. So if you know the brown paper bag test, you know that it tells you that the closer you are to being fair, the more beautiful you are. And the farther you are from being fair, the uglier you are. So let me engage Mida. Mida, what do you understand by colorism? What is it to you?
Colorism. You know that for the longest time, even while I was like much younger, I knew that this thing existed, but I didn't know that there was a name to it.
True.
So maybe some of you actually know that these things exist and you do not know that there is a name to it. So in simple terms, colorism is a bias, treating somebody with darker shade of a particular skin color lesser than the person who has, a brighter shade or a lighter shade. For example, Rebecca and I. We are black. So it is very, very important for you to know that colorism is different from racism, right?
But they're still the same.
But
one is
they
the daughter
walk
of the other.
in the same direction, but they're not entirely the same. While racism is race, ethnicity, this has to do with
still with color as well.
True,
Color as well.
But this one basically talks about we belong to the same race. We are black people. We're black people, but Rebecca has a lighter shade of skin color than I do. I am a little bit darker than Rebecca is. So this is just, and then Rebecca gets treated, better than I get treated. This is just basically colorism.
Yeah.
Just as simple as it is.
Yeah. So when most times people hear of colorism, they tend to focus, forget actually that in Africa, the continent itself, it is there. So when people talk about racism, they just look at the black and the white in the US, and they look at the colorism as a minority problem still with the black community in the US, and they forget that it's not just a minority problem once they look outside the US, that is actually a majority problem when they come to the continent, the African continent, where we are all supposed to be or expected to be black, but then you realize that our shades of black come in different shades of brown. So looking at what the colonialists still came with, because to them they still preferred a color close to theirs, so they still carry this concept that people who are fairer, people who come to look and appear closer to them, should be treated much better.
All of these things have their root in colonialism and the fact that, of course, the entire continent was invaded and stuff like this. You realize that, giving jobs or employment to people, casting them for roles in entertainment and all of these things depended on how fair-skinned you are, or like how fair you are, how light-skinned you are, or how close to their color you are. So since black is attached to dangerous, to brutal, to bad, to ugly, to all of these bad things, the closer your skin color is to this dangerous color, the worse it gets for you, in the sense that you don't get as much job opportunities as the person who is also a black person but has a lighter shade, and you get treated less than this person with a lighter shade. How many of you, sincerely, that are actually looking at us right now, how many of you have cringed when you see somebody that is like much darker shades than you are. I don't know how dark you are, how dark skinned you are, but how many times have you had to say, guy, this babe is black?
She's black.
Like how many times have you had to say there is difference between black and dark?
And dark.
How many times have you had to say that, this your black is another level? How many times have you seen somebody whose palms aren't so, light? They're a little bit dark. How many times have you said, what kind of blackness is this? You as a black person, I'm putting this question to you. If you've ever had this thought in your head, you understand what we mean when we talk about a dark-skinned person treated less of a black person than somebody with a lighter shade of, blackness.
Yeah, and actually that's where we see black people being socialized in racism. That even when we say, white people are being treated better, but then when we come to our community, we still prefer the lighter skinned people. So even amongst us, we still socially, we are racially socialized. We tend to prefer lighter skin and all of that. And as you said, we get to see this on TV. People say, TV likes the light skinned people. But then, no, that's the industry, that's the colonial industry itself, the capitalism industry that has chosen to prefer one shade over another because it is closer, it appears closer to be the color of the colonial master. So
this reminds me of when we're doing this complementary course in our first semester, in our first semester, and then people, producers, for example, in the entertainment industry, specifically movie producers, they say stuff like the reason why they don't cast people that are of a much darker shade is because they have to adjust something on their camera, they have to use a different type of camera, because especially when a dark person and a light person has to they have to sit next together, they have to be casted together. It becomes much of a problem to them, and they give the excuse of, okay, maybe the film, the camera, whatever, this and that, and then you realize that maybe cameras aren't even made for people that are of that are like much darker. Maybe
the exclusive
makeup, let's go to getting makeup. It is, living in Germany, it's much more difficult for people like us to get a makeup that would actually suit our skin. Now it's much more, I don't know how I can emphasize that more, difficult for somebody who is darker than I am to get, to get a makeup, common powder. And the funny thing, you get to an African country and it's even the same problem.
Yeah.
Because you hardly see somebody, either you get to a makeup store and they tell you maybe you have to tone up a little bit to get a perfect makeup to suit your skin. It's difficult for you to get good makeup. It's difficult for you to get rose. It is difficult for you to do a number of things because your skin you have a much darker shade of black.
You have the darker shade.
Yeah.
And the makeup that would suit the darker shade is very expensive, and black people really do not have that kind of cash to just give away every time to those expensive products. And yet the cheaper ones are the ones that suit the, like the white people. They're the most accessible ones. You can find them everywhere.
It almost feels as though nobody wants somebody that is like super dark to stay in a community because you have nothing for you.
Yeah.
Like it looks like nothing fits you. Even if you go to you go to a fashion store, they tell you, your skin color, we might have to not use this type of color on you, because it gets difficult for you to do anything every other person is doing, because everyone gets to say, okay, maybe it would be good for you to go a shade, higher, or 3 shades higher.
Yeah.
So that, because it is I read something and it says something like, this boy, the mother of this boy from birth has been using, a lighter bleaching cream on this boy, because the mother believes that everything white is okay.
Yeah.
Everything light is good. So this mother looking out for our son, thinks that if I make you a little, I mean, you're already born dark, but if I make you a little bit lighter, you would have a better future ahead of you.
And I cannot blame her.
Yes, why?
I cannot blame her, because with our color, it comes with inherited privilege. It's attached to social and economic status. That is why you find black men in the US, when they have attained a certain level of success in music or in acting, they prefer to have white women with them, because it's them graduating outside the blackness.
It's a status.
Yeah, it's them marrying upwards, because when you're with a black person, it's like you're still down there, you're still in the trenches.
You're stooping so low.
Once you now get a white woman, now you're showing you have succeeded. When you have a good job, you can no longer be with a black woman, now you have to be with a white woman. And that's what we see with black men, especially in the
Somebody
US.
mentioned something just this week, and the person said, why do you think that white women go for black men that are super successful? And I said, well, maybe black men also go for white women when they are successful. So it's like the same. You feel like a white woman doesn't want to date.
Shouldn't date a broke black man.
Somebody always struggling, a black man. You're like, okay, maybe you're less to me, and you now have nothing to offer, literally. And a black man also believes that, well, I'm doing well enough. Let me challenge myself, and let me go a little bit higher and go to this white person.
But that's not really usually I don't really think that's actually the thought they usually have when they marry white women, that let me work harder. To me, it's them proving that they can actually be with a white woman. It's like, it's an accomplishment, it's a trophy. It's a trophy to them that I have a white woman, so it's done. It's done. I have made it in life. So now I can show up. And honestly, and you see that even in our black community, in the African community, somebody has a light skinned babe. Oh, she's light skinned. This. Oh, and they have all sorts of names for her. So African men just carry on the same stereotype every time. And Mida, you were talking about the beauty industry, right? Reminds me of Jackie Aina. She's a Nigerian American beauty YouTuber, and knowing that she advocates for visibility of people of color in the cosmetic industry is something so powerful, because I keep asking myself, how did people like her feel at a certain point when they came into the cosmetic industry and they just didn't have representation of them. They didn't have cosmetic brands that could make them, they could use to do all their beauty brands and just look beautiful and do all the art with the makeup. I just can't imagine how they felt. If it was me, anyway, it wasn't me, so I can't imagine that.
Remember Beverly's Skin, the movie or the documentary on Netflix?
Yeah.
Where a number of persons had to talk about how they felt.
And she's by the one of my favorite Nigerian actresses. I love her.
She's like, I
love her.
I feel like we cannot understand. Okay, I cannot understand because I'm not them. But like, if they express how they felt at the beginning of their career and how people had to convince them to go shades higher.
I get it, yes.
And people had to tell them that if you want to go far, you have to. Yes. And everything that they had to keep up with, struggling through the bias, the prejudices, and all of these things, I feel like they should be really like super celebrated. And these days, people don't think about like the adverse effects of all of these creams.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. This is if you've always struggled to be seen all your life, you would not think about the adverse effect of what this is going to have or how this is going to affect you. You just want to be seen.
You want to survive as well.
And it just pushes people to a point where they just have to go through anything. They have to inject themselves. Yeah. They have to use creams that are not, that are not even good, that are not healthy. Yeah. You realize that their body is like, they have different shades all over their body.
It makes the skin purple.
And they just don't care because they just want to be seen.
This capitalistic world will make you a survivor. It will give you the the option. You either do this to get this, or you face it crap. Like, so that's why I can't judge them. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I would not even judge anybody for anything.
Like, I can't judge them.
But like, most importantly, if I have a friend who does this, I would just tell this person not to try to get validation from all of these people, from the words that they say, because people could really put you down on every level of your life. Seriously, it's like some people are like attached to you to just put you down. So you should not try to get validation from all of these people, because no matter how light-skinned you get, you really can never be white.
You can never, and you can even see even among light-skinned people, they want to keep bleaching the most.
That's
so
the
they can
thing.
maintain the
That's
social
the thing.
status.
You never stop doing this thing.
You have to keep
You
going on.
yes. From one level to another level to another level. I know one very popular person on Instagram, and the funny thing is, this business is so lucrative because, I mean, WHO published a report sometime back that 77% of Nigerian women actually bleach their skin. And I know this because I'm Nigerian.
The highest in Africa.
Yes, the highest in Africa, followed by, I think, Togo or Mali, I can't remember. Like, it's so huge in Africa, in Nigeria, that everyone, some people, look for another name for it. Like, they call it different names. Some say they want to go shades higher. Some say they want to go. I would not judge you because I don't understand what you go through, but I would really say that you should stop seeking validation from all of these people that do not really matter.
Yeah.
Boys would come and then will say stupid things like, you're not beautiful enough. You go for, in the beauty world, you're trying to be Miss whatever, Miss Nigeria, Miss this, Miss that, and you really cannot get there because, I don't know, you're dark skinned. They just believe that you're not as beautiful as somebody who is. I said I do not understand how you feel, but the more you try to bleach your skin, you will never stop.
It will never be enough.
You will continue to try to bleach your skin over and over and over and over again.
Yes.
All because of some people's validation, whose validation you would never get. Because no matter how fair-skinned you get, they would still put you down at every point of your life.
That's very true. And for me, as a light-skinned person, what I can do definitely on my side is to deconstruct that culture. Definitely the measures I would undertake would have to be different from the measures you take, because I'm part of the social status, and my existence actually is the reason why certain people have to be treated a certain way and other people get the privilege they get. So definitely at that point, because most times I look at myself as the radical one, but then I have to also keep in mind that in somebody else's reality I'm an enemy. So
you're an oppressor.
I'm an oppressor. So I have to keep telling myself that, like, get ready for this. In somebody else's reality, this is what you are. So you have to be able to tackle it. So definitely when it comes to such issues, if I found out that I was getting a job for my light skin and my dark skin
quiet,
sister,
that's a problem.
had been denied the job, and I kept quiet, that would be me reinforcing the system and accepting it to go on. Definitely I'd have to stand up against it, shut it down, and definitely say no.
I just like you would easily point to a white person saying that you're privileged, you should do something. Right? You as a light-skinned person, or you have a lighter shade of skin than your dark sister or brother, and you refused to accept. I think the first thing is for you to acknowledge that you're very privileged. Like, if you don't accept that this is happening, this is the reality, and you just keep pointing fingers at, so why are you bleaching your skin? Oh, so why are you doing this? So why are you doing that? And you refuse to see the fact that you're privileged in the society that we live in. I think that's where the problem starts from. You as a light-skinned African lady or guy should know that you're way privileged than your black sister, than your dark sister. And acknowledging that fact is you saying that, yes, this is a problem and this is how I'm going to solve this. So I think that the first thing for you to do is to acknowledge that, yes, you're privileged, and then speaking up and not keeping quiet and saying that, well, I was created this way. I know that you were created this way, but you were created with privilege.
Yeah.
So accept the fact that you have this privilege and then speak against, things like this in your industry, in your field. Stand up against stuff like this. Don't just, talk about racism and forget that there's colorism right in front of you.
It has actually reminded me of the situation in Ethiopia, how Ethiopia has given us the image that all women in Ethiopia are of a certain color.
Yeah.
So you look at Ethiopian women, you're like, Ethiopian women are so light. They look like this. They're beautiful women. They're like this. Because that's the image Ethiopia has given us. You see it on Ethiopian Airways, you see it on their TV. And then out of nowhere, you're seeing a different shade. And
it looks like this person is less of an Ethiopian.
Where were these women? And then when I found it, and I was like, hold up. Not everybody in Ethiopia is of this shade. And I was like,
yeah, this is a very
don't know this.
This is a very important thing, because we could all just form an entire opinion in our heads about how people of a certain country look because of the people that you get to see on your screen.
The industry presents us.
Yeah.
And we create this image that the light ones are the beautiful ones, and it reminded me when somebody saw an Ethiopian lady who was of a darker shade. She's like, are you sure you're from Ethiopia? Like, for real? In my head, I was like, I first looked at it and I'm like, I was like, you're from Ethiopia, right? She said, yeah, I'm from Ethiopia. And I'm like, I've never seen a shade like yours. She's like, hey, they hide us. I don't know where they hide us as well. But then the guy kept asking, are you sure you're from Ethiopia? Because Ethiopian women look this way. And to be honest, me too, the Ethiopian women I had seen were of that same shade. And I was like, oh, these women are beautiful. But then I saw the dark shade and I'm like, come on, these women are beautiful as well. Why can't they be there as well? Why can't they be on Ethiopian Airways, be on their TV and everything? But then it's because we attach the beauty to this specific skin color that we don't even want the darker shade. Or like, we completely turn blind completely.
Right.
Like, completely we just...
I feel like each and every one of us, I don't know, I think we have the iota of being, having these thoughts in our heads. We grew up with the understanding that maybe a light person is more beautiful than a dark person. We grew up with the understanding that you should try to be fair, you should try to be light, you should change the color of this, all of these things. But at every point in our lives, we should always be open to learning new things and trying as much as possible not to be the reason why another person will feel less of themselves. I think that's just our responsibility. So if you feel like you saying something or you doing something is going to make another person feel less of themselves just because of their skin color, I feel like you have a lot to do. Try as much as possible in your own capacity to be responsible for yourself and for your sister.
Yeah.
That brings me to this question, Rebecca. Somebody actually asked this question on Instagram, and like on his Instagram story, and asked, do you feel like light-skinned guy is less of a guy?
I don't believe in that crap. I don't believe in that. I don't buy it at all. That a light-skinned man is less masculine.
Yeah.
I don't. They could carry on that narrative, but in the end, it affects the black woman. It affects the black woman because when they said that the black man is the ideal man, more masculine, this falls back on the black woman because it makes her hard and masculine as well, and that's why black women are not desired. Because it creates the impression that the light-skinned men are the softer ones, they're less masculine. Which says something about the light-skinned women, that light-skinned women are softer and feminine. So when you said the black man is the ideal one, more masculine, and this falls to the black women, and that's the impression we've gotten on all black women everywhere. They're always labeled, oh, more masculine, oh, they look like, I don't even want to say the word, it's so degrading. And it affects them so much because we desire the men to look, the black men to be this way, but then when it comes to the black women, we want to hide them in wardrobes and cupboards. We don't want to see them at all. So I don't really like that. There was a time I was actually socialized in that as well, that I would prefer a black man to be this.
Because I've heard that a number of times. Like I think I might even have said that before, but I've never said that I could never be with a light-skinned guy. But like I know a number of ladies that would say that I would never be with a light skin guy. You see, I never thought of it that way. Like it falls back on the black woman, and that's a very valid argument. But like even for the fact that you would say that, I mean, it's okay for you to say that this is your spec, you want to have a spec or whatever, but when you say that you could never be with somebody because you feel like they are less of a person, or because they carry a skin color they should be less of a whatever, I think that is totally not acceptable.
You see, that brings us to the issue of preferences. Because when we ask men, why do you prefer, actually when we ask black men, that statement, why do you prefer the light skin people? Why do they say, it's, that's my preference.
Yeah, my spec.
But then when you engage them in the conversation, like if you hear black men talk about black women, it's very disgusting. They tell you, oh, black women are like this, they're like this. I like the light-skinned women. They're soft, they're this. And when you hear black men talk about light-skinned men, they're like, those light-skinned men are soft, they cannot do anything. So what about the black men? Oh, us, we're strong, this. So you get to see them. They create this narrative that they're the strong ones, they're the ideal ones. And when it comes to their dark sisters, they're trash. They don't want them. They prefer the light-skinned.
It's like, there is an effect on gender as well. Like, the way it is construed with the male gender is different from the way it is construed in the female gender. It affects it.
They construed it as they made it for themselves, and we as black women tend to forget that this always affects us. In the end, it always affects us, and people always say, "Oh, it's my preference," but then if your preference is rooted in somebody else's dehumanization,
that's what I'm saying.
Then we're like,
that is it. I mean, it's okay to say that you have a spec, but why do you have this preference?
Let's investigate
that's the
it.
thing.
This is not mangoes and oranges conversation. No. This is somebody's dignity.
This is why I feel like laws and legislations are totally useless when they bring them into skin discussion, and you say that, okay, do not sell creams that are like this, do not sell creams that are like that, and it's just a legislation has been passed, and just please, really, because you're only addressing the effect it has on the skin. You're not affecting the reason why somebody would even want to do this in the first place. Yeah. And if you don't, people would still go ahead and do whatever they want to do.
You just reminded me of that song back up. Ugandans, I'm sure you know this song. It's by Geoffrey Lutaya. So somewhere in the song he says, Yade Yadeko, go movie on where. Now let me tell you what it means. It's only like you want to interrupt.
What is that? What is that Luganda?
It's Luganda.
Yade Congo mio. Yade Congo. What is it that I cannot speak? I'm very vast.
No. Those are Yade Congo movie. So the translation of that, if the translation of those words is basically when somebody says that, it's like they'll prefer a light-skinned ugly person than a dark. Yes, like I would prefer a light-skinned ugly person, which reminds me, and that is true, because you see men when they get married, be like, when people are getting married and men have light-skinned women, you see, oh, hey, a yakuza. Oh, sorry, I forgot you.
My life. I think I'm going to start this YouTube channel.
I forgot that you don't know the language. That's what happens when you people start speaking your language. That's what happens. I also get carried away, right? You tend to hear people saying that, oh, she's going to give birth to light-skinned children for you. That's enough. Oh, you've got to put yourself a light-skinned woman. And I remember somebody in high school telling me, being light is a curtain. Hey! I was like, what? Yes, being light is a curtain, Rebecca. Remember that. I was like, hey. She fed me that truth like this. I said, thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
I was like, that's true. That is very true. But that statement is very harsh in that song. So you get to realize that it gets carried on in society that, you know what, I would rather have a light-skinned woman who is ugly. And people go on with that notion. People go on.
I mean, he said it, or I don't know who sang that song.
Geoffrey Lutaya.
A guy, right?
Geoffrey Lutaya, yes.
He sang the song, but most people have this in their heads.
Yeah.
They don't say this out.
He didn't just create even those words themselves. They've been in society. It has been going and on. And yeah.
Anyways, so basically, the conclusion or the summary of all of these things is, whatever it is that you do that would send another person, or whatever you say that would make another person feel less of a human being, you should not do it. You should not say it, and you should if you're a light-skinned person, you should understand that you're privileged and you should speak up against any form of injustice to your black sister or to your black brother.
Yeah, we should definitely take more action. We shouldn't be comfortable. And you know, most times we tend to pretend that, but there is no colorism. Oh, I'm treated the same way. In my head, I'm like, oh my God, you're speaking like a white person.
Yeah.
You're speaking like a white person right now. You're speaking like a white person. But then we should definitely, as she said, we should definitely acknowledge our privilege and should take it upon ourselves to do much more. Reject those deals you're getting because you're light skinned. Keep pushing your darker skinned sisters out there. Support them, cheer them, give them opportunities, seek them out for them. Just take a back step forward, right?
Yeah.
Take a back step and
breathe.
Yeah.
Let other people be seen.
Stay away.
And if you're thinking of like bleaching your skin because you want to get validation from other people, please understand right now that no matter how much you bleach your skin, people are still going to put you down. People are never going to be satisfied with your shade of skin. So why do you have to do this for this person or for these people? They're not worth it in the end. Okay, so I just have one question for you people. You know you get good content from this YouTube channel and you have not shared.
Hey.
You are putting us under your pillow. Why are you ordering us? Please tell us why you ordering us. We don't want to be ordered.
When I shared my Facebook, you only like and comment ha ha ha. But you don't click on that link and go to the channel itself and subscribe. You guys are fake.
We're coming to your inboxes with cutlasses. Don't worry.
You'll remember us when we make it. You'll remember us. You will remember us.
Alright, take care of yourself. Till we see you the next time.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe. Tschüss.
That's what happens when you cannot speak a language. This was the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle pose.